Welcome back. This week we'll be exploring Nevada State historical markers, numbers 46 through 50. So let's start off with marker number 46, Pilot Peak. Pilot Peak. The high, symmetrically shaped mountain seen rising to the north is Pilot Peak, named by John C. Fremont on his expedition of 1845. Previously, the Bartleson and Bidwell party camped here in 1841. These immigrants have traveled one day and night across the Great Salt Lake Desert to find their first water here. In the period of 1845 and 1850, the peak was a famous landmark and symbol of hope and relief to the Reed Donner Party and all other wagon train pioneers who traveled the 70-odd miles of deadly, thirst and heat-ridden steps across the Great Salt Lake Desert. This desert represented the worst section of the infamous Hastings Cutoff of the California Immigrant Trail. Nevada State Historical Marker 46. Not far away, about 78 miles, we find our next marker. We first exit Interstate 80 at exit 321 and drive south down State Route 229 for about 600 feet. And here we will find our next historical marker. Marker number 47, Fort Halleck Site. Fort Halleck Site, 1867-1886. On July 26, 1867, Captain Samuel Smith established what became Fort Halleck, 12 miles to the south near Soldier Creek, in concert with Fort Ruby, 50 miles further south. The Army intended the fort to protect the California Immigrant Trail, the overland mail route, and the construction work on the Central Pacific Railroad during the conflicts with the Goshoot and Western Shoshone in that decade. The camp was named for Major General Henry Wager Halleck, a prominent general who served as General-in-Chief of the Army from 1862 to 1865. In May 1868, Camp Halleck became a two-company post and the headquarters for the Nevada Military District when Fort Churchill, near Yerington, was abandoned. By 1877, the fort contained about 20 buildings of wood, adobe, and stone arranged around a rectangular parade ground. Troops from the fort participated in action against the Modoc Indians in Northern California in 1873, against the Nez Perce Uprising in Idaho in 1877, against the Bannocks in Oregon in 1878, and against the Apaches in Arizona in 1885. However, by the 1880s, the need for military stations throughout the American West was much diminished, and the Army closed the fort in December of 1886. Nevada State Historical Marker 47. Now, we will turn around and head back towards Elko. At exit 301, we will turn down State Route 225. We will stay on this route for a while, until we come to the junction of State Route 226. 18 miles down Route 226, we will find our next marker. Marker number 48, Tuscarora. Tuscarora. This colorful historic camp originated with an 1867 discovery of placer gold by John and Steve Beard. In 1871, W.O. Weed discovered the rich Mount Blitzen silver lodes 2 miles northeast of the Beard claims. These and other mines made up the Tuscarora mining district, which experienced its boom between 1872 and 1884, and ultimately produced between $10 million and $40 million. At its peak, Tuscarora boasted a population of over 3,000, which included several hundred Chinese. The Chinese mostly conducted placer mining at the Beard Discovery Site, later called Old Town, while the main camp developed at the present location of Tuscarora, platted in 1871. Toll roads, crowded with stagecoaches and long strings of heavy freight wagons, serviced the camp from railheads at Elko, Carlin, Battle Mountain, and Winnemucca. Tuscarora residents shifted their work between mining gold and silver and ranching in Independence Valley. By 1895, Tuscarora's production had diminished greatly from its boom days to below $50,000 annually. The camp struggled until 1917, when most of the mining equipment was sold for scrap. This ended operations at Tuscarora until 1987, when Fisher, Watt, and Horizon reopened the Dexter mine. Nevada State Historical Marker 48. The next marker in our trip is number 49. But first, we will need to get back onto Interstate 80 and travel west. At exit 145 is the town of Imlay. Located on the westbound frontage road, we will find our next marker. Marker number 49, Applegate-Lassen Immigrant Trail Cutoff. Applegate-Lassen Immigrant Trail Cutoff. Jesse and Lindsay Applegate headed south from Willamette Valley, Oregon, June 29, 1846, seeking a less hazardous route to that region from the east. On July 21st, they came to a large meadow on the Humboldt River, what is now the nearby Rye Patch Reservoir. Thus they established the Applegate Trail. During the remainder of 1846 and for the next 2 years, Oregon immigrants successfully traveled this trail. In 1848, Peter Lassen, hoping to bring immigrants to his ranch, acted as a guide. To a party of 10 to 12 wagons bound for California, he followed a route from here to Goose Lake, where he turned southward over terrain that was barely passable. The immigrants suffered great hardships. Many lives and livestock were lost. It became known as the Death Route. Nevada State Historical Marker 49. So now, let's turn around and head east on Interstate 80 towards Carlin. We will get off at exit 282 and turn onto Chestnut Street. Tucked away in the canyon, we will discover our next marker. Marker number 50, Carlin Canyon. Carlin Canyon. In December 1828, Peter Skeen Ogden and his trapping brigade, Hudson's Bay Company's 5th Snake Country Expedition, were the first European Americans to enter here. Joseph Paul, one of Ogden's trappers, died nearby, the first immigrant to die and be buried in the Humboldt country. Late in 1845, John Fremont dispatched a group down the Humboldt. They traversed this canyon with difficulty on November 10th. In September 1846, the Reed Donner Party, en route to disaster in the deep snows of the Sierra Nevada, viewed this canyon. The Central Pacific's Chinese track gangs constructed the Transcontinental Railroad, now Southern Pacific, through here in December 1868. Subsequently, the canyon became known as Carlin or Moline Canyon. The Western Pacific, the second transcontinental rail link across Nevada, was constructed in 1907. In 1913, Nevada Route 1, the first auto road, took over the abandoned Central Pacific grade through the canyon. In 1920, Route 1 became the Victory Highway, and in 1926, US 40. In its freeway phase, it is now designated Interstate 80. Nevada State Historical Marker 50.